start on it. My keys in my pocket.
We don't have to chalk the wheels.
We don't have to
anymore.
chalk the wheels. My keys in my pocket. My brakes are applied, and the truck is in gear, so nobody can move the truck.
Right on.
Okay. This is the way I want you guys to say it. As I approach the truck,
Right on.
I'm looking at it to see if it's leaning from one side or the other, which would indicate a suspension or a tire problem. I'm looking underneath the truck to see if there's any puddling, which would indicate a leak, or any hanging wires or parts. I'm looking at my clearance lights. Securely mounted, no missing or broken parts, amber in color. I'm looking at my blinkers and four-ways, securely mounted, no missing or broken parts, amber in color. I'm looking at my headlights, securely mounted, no missing or broken parts, clear in color.
You don't have to say nothing about high or low beam.
You're going to check your high and low beam inside.
Okay.
Okay? Then you will lift the hood. I'm checking my coolant reservoir. Securely mounted, no missing or broken parts, filled to adequate level, hoses are connected properly, and it appears not to be leaking. My windshield washer reservoir, securely mounted, no missing or broken parts, filled to adequate level, all the hoses are connected properly and appear not to be leaking. Water pump, securely mounted, no missing or broken parts. It is belt driven. The belt has no cuts, frays, and no more than a half an inch of play. Right here, I'm checking my wiring for any cuts or frays that could start electrical fire and put my vehicle out of service. I'm checking my air lines for any, make sure that they're fitted properly and they appear not to be leaking. This is where I add engine oil. This is where I check my oil. When I pull the dipstick, if it's between add and full, it's in the safe zone. My upper and lower radiator hoses are securely fitted and appear not to be leaking. My alternator, securely mounted, no missing nuts or bolts, belt, no cracks, no frays, no more than a half inch play. Wires are properly connected. Back here is my air compressor. Securely mounted, no missing or broken parts, hoses are fitted properly, appears not to be leaking, and it's gear driven. My power steering pump is securely mounted, no missing or broken parts. Hoses are fitted properly and appear not to be leaking, and it is gear driven. My power steering reservoir, securely mounted, no missing or broken parts, filled to adequate level. Hoses are fitted properly and they appear not to be leaking. My steering shaft and knuckle, securely mounted, no missing or broken parts, no more than a 10-degree play. My frame from front to back, securely mounted, no missing nuts or bolts, no holes, and no illegal welds that would put my vehicle out of service. Oh, my spring hangers, front and rear, securely mounted, no missing or broken parts. My leaf springs, securely mounted, no missing or broken parts. No shifted or scissoring. My U-bolts, securely mounted, no missing broken parts, nuts or bolts. My shock absorber is securely mounted to the top and bottom. No dents, no cracks, and no leaks. My steering gearbox, securely mounted to the frame, no missing nuts or bolts. All the hoses are fitted properly and appear not to be leaking. My pitman arm, securely mounted, no missing or broken parts. Castle nut and Carter key present. My drag link, securely mounted, no dents, no cracks, and it is securely mounted to the steering knuckle with a castle nut and Carter key. My tie rods, tie rod ends, securely mounted, no missing or broken parts. Brake chamber and clamps, securely mounted, no missing or broken parts. Airline is fitted properly and it appears not to be leaking. Push rod and clevis, securely mounted to the slack adjuster with a pin and Carter key. The slack adjuster is properly adjusted. S-cam housing, securely mounted, no missing parts, nuts or bolts. My brake shoes and brake pads, securely mounted, no missing nuts or bolts, no cracks. The pad can be no less than 1/4 inch thick. My brake drum, securely mounted, no missing or broken parts, no cracks, holes, or dents. If it does have a crack, it can be no larger than half the width of the friction surface. There is no bluing and no oil. I check the inside and outside of my rim for any dents, cracks, or illegal welds that would put my vehicle out of service. I check the inside and outside of my tire for any abrasions, cuts, or bruises. I check my tread. The tread should be at least 4/32. I check it with a tread depth gauge. Front tires cannot be recapped or regrooved. It should hold at least 100 pounds of pressure. I would check with a pressure gauge. Checking my lug nuts for missing or loose lug nuts. If I see shiny threads or a rust trail that would indicate a loose lug nut, I would tighten it with a lug wrench. Hub seal, securely mounted, no missing or broken parts, and it appears not to be leaking. Okay. Checking my mirror, securely mounted, top and bottom, no missing or broken parts. My door handle and my door hinges, securely mounted, no missing or broken parts. My window rolls up and down. My weather seal is intact.
along in proper condition.
It's intact. My steps, straps, and tank securely mounted to the frame. No missing bolts or nuts. The tank has no dents or cracks, and it appears not to be leaking. The fuel cap. If there's a leak in the fuel cap, I would change the rubber gasket. Check the overall side of the vehicle. No missing rivets or screws. My DOT lettering is properly secure and legible. My side marker light, securely mounted, no missing or broken parts, amber in color. I have enough room between my truck and my trailer to make my maneuvers without them coming into contact. My DOT reflective tape is securely mounted and visible. My exhaust, securely mounted, no missing nuts or bolts. I would look for excessive soot, which would indicate a leak and put my vehicle out of service. I check my drive shaft and U-joints, no bends, no cracks, and it's free of debris. Check my air lines, properly connected to the truck and to the trailer. No cuts or cracks, and they appear not to be leaking. If there's a leak in the glad hands, I would replace the rubber grommets. I check my electrical cable, securely mounted to the truck and to the trailer. No cuts or frays that can start an electrical fire and put my vehicle out of service. I would check my spring hangers, front and rear. No missing or broken parts. I check my U-bolts. No missing or broken parts. I check my leaf springs. No missing, cracked, or shifted leaf springs. I check my airbag. Securely mounted, top and bottom. The hoses are fitted properly, appears not to be leaking, no cracks, no cuts in the bag. My shock absorber, securely mounted top and bottom, no dents, no leaks. My brake chambers and clamps, securely mounted, no missing or broken parts. Hoses are fitted properly and they appear not to be leaking. My push rod and clevis is securely mounted to the slack adjuster with a pin and carter key. The slack adjuster is properly adjusted. The S-cam housing is securely mounted, no missing or broken parts, nuts or bolts. My brake shoes, securely mounted, no missing parts. My brake pads can be no less than 1/4 of an inch thick. My brake drum, I would check for cracks, dents, or holes. If it does have a crack, it can be no larger than half the width of the friction surface. No bluing and no oil. I would check my rims, inside and out, for any dents, cracks, or illegal welds that would put my vehicle out of service. I would check my tires, insides and outsides, for any cuts, bruises, or abrasions.
So this one you can do plural. You don't have to do back and then front. You can do all four at the same
Do
time.
it all at once. I would check my tread depth. These these have to be at least 2 30-seconds. These can be recapped or regrouped. I'll check my butting space. My wheels are properly butted and it's free of debris. These tires should hold at least 100 pounds of PSI. I would check with the air pressure gauge. I would check my lug nuts for missing or loose lug nuts. If I see shiny threads or a rust trail, that would indicate a loose lug nut, and I could tighten it with a lug wrench. My axle seal securely mounted, no missing or broken parts, and it appears not to be leaking. I would check this axle just like I checked this axle. My fifth wheel is securely mounted to the frame. No missing nuts or bolts. My locking lever is in the lock position. My pivot pin is in place with a pin and Carter key. There is no gap between the fifth wheel platform and the trailer apron, and it is properly greased. The apron has no damage. Okay, come back here. The locking jaws are securely locked around the kingpin shaft. The shaft is not bent. My torsion bar is securely mounted, no missing or broken parts. My tail lights, brake lights, blinkers, and four-ways securely mounted, no missing or broken parts, red in color. My reverse light securely mounted, no missing or broken parts, clear in color. My mud flaps securely mounted, no missing or broken parts. My trailer is free of debris. My front marker light securely mounted, no missing or broken parts, amber in color. My tie down ratchets securely mounted, no missing or broken parts. My DOT reflective tape and lettering securely mounted and visible. My landing gear is in the upright position, securely mounted, no missing or broken parts. I have plenty of room between my back of my tractor and my landing gear to make maneuvers without them coming in contact. I check my trailer frame and cross members for any broken, cracks, or illegal welds that would put my trailer out of service. I check my side marker light, securely mounted, no missing and broken parts, amber in color. We're going to change it. Okay, down here, I would check my spring hangers, front and back, securely mounted, no missing or broken parts. Checking my U-bolts, securely mounted, no missing nuts or bolts. My leaf springs are securely mounted, no broken, shifted, or missing leaf springs. My torsion bar is securely mounted, no missing or broken parts. My brake chambers and clamps securely mounted, no missing or broken parts. My my air hose is securely mounted, fitted. I'm getting tongue-tied. Fitted properly and appears not to be leaking. My push rod and clevis securely mounted to the slack adjuster with a pin and Carter key. The slack adjuster is properly adjusted. My S-cam housing is securely mounted, no missing or broken parts, nuts or bolts. My brake shoes and brake pads securely mounted, no missing parts. My brake pads can be no less than 1/4 of an inch thick. My brake drum, securely mounted. I would check for cracks, dents, or holes. If there is a crack, it can be no larger than half the width of the friction surface. I check my rims inside and out for any dents, cracks, or illegal welds that would put my vehicle out of service. And I don't know if I said bluing or oil on the drum.
You did now.
No, you didn't, but you got it.
Then the rims. Then the tires, I check the tires inside and out for any cuts, bruises, or abrasions. I would check the tread for these tires can be recapped and regrooved. The tread dip has to be no less than 2/32. I would check with the tread dip gauge. These tires should hold at least 100 psi. I check with the air pressure gauge. I check my butting space. My wheels are properly butted and free of debris. I check my lug nuts, securely mounted, no missing lug nuts. If I see shiny threads or a rusty trail, that would indicate a loose lug nut. I would tighten it with a lug wrench. Hub seal, securely mounted, no missing or broken parts, and it appears not to be leaking. I would check this axle just like I checked that axle. ABS light, securely mounted, no missing or broken parts, amber in color. My tail lights, brake lights, blinkers, and four-ways, securely mounted, no missing or broken parts, red in color. My 3-center marker lights, securely mounted, no missing or broken parts, red in color. DOT reflective tape and lettering, securely mounted, invisible. DOT bumper, securely mounted, no missing or broken parts, and no illegal welds. Tag light, securely mounted, no missing or broken parts, clear in color. Mud flaps, securely mounted, no missing or broken parts. I would check this side the same as I did that side. My landing gear crank handle is in the upright latch position. When you get back up to the front,
Got your catwalk. Catwalk.
Get it?
Yep.
my catwalk and steps securely mounted to the frame, no missing or broken parts. Thank you.
You're welcome.
When you get back up here, you'll ask the examiner, will you help me with the light check? And we all pile in.
Make it
Be
work.
standing room only, but
You don't wanna watch it? I'm gonna record it, so.
go ahead, jump in. Everybody get in.
All right, I'll pick that up when we get out. Go ahead.
That's a full cab.
You got it. Come on. Just breathe.
Go ahead.
Don't be shy.
You don't know. What you got to be shy about? You gonna sit down?
Right there.
Let's get about 3 more on the seat.
You could, actually.
Okay.
You from here?
I've been here long enough though.
That's how you put you in the county here before they put you in the Where we going? Well, they didn't change his address like that for everybody.
Okay.
That's for everybody.
When you get in, first thing you're gonna do is grab the seat belt. It is securely mounted to the cab and to the seat somewhere. Okay. Behind my seat, I have 3 reflective triangles, a fully charged fire extinguisher, and spare electrical fuses. I will perform a safe start. Transmission's in neutral. Brakes are applied. No more than 2 inches of play in my clutch. I will start the vehicle. No one around. I'll check on either side, check my mirrors.
But your brakes aren't applied. Right?
My brakes are applied.
They are right now?
Yeah. Yep, they're out.
Oh, okay.
So when we get in here, will it automatically be in neutral, or are we just pretending
It's gonna be in gear.
It's in gear outside.
gear.
It is in gear. Okay,
Yeah,
so
you're
we'll
gonna
put
put
it in
it in
neutral.
neutral.
Okay.
Okay, my ABS light came on and went off. My windshield, securely mounted. No cracks or chips or illegal stickers to block my view. My wipers fit flush against the windshield. My washer works. My lights, right before I do lights, my defroster, my heater works, my city horn, country horn. Now will be my lights. I turn my lights on. Lift my blinker up, my bright light indicator comes on, my left turn signal indicator, right turn signal indicator, 4-way flashers, okay, now I'll start with my gauges. Engine oil. My engine pressure is at 45 psi. My water temperature is at 140. My RPM gauge works. My speedometer we will check when I do my 5-mile-an-hour stab test. My voltmeter is at 14.5. I have enough fuel to make this trip. My primary air is at 120. My secondary air is at 120. Okay. Now I will perform an applied brake test. I will release my brakes. Shut the engine off. Turn the key back on. At this time, I will hold the brake pedal down for 1 minute, and I should not lose more than 4 pounds of pressure. And you'll be timing yourself. You got to time yourself.
Right.
Okay. Da 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 da. That's a minute. I did not lose more than 4 pounds in that minute. Now I will fan my brakes until my low air pressure buzzer and indicator light comes on, and they should come on between 75 and 60. And it did. Now I will continue to fan my brakes until my emergency brakes pop out, and they should pop out between 45 and 20.
Yeah.
Did they both pop?
Yeah, they both popped
Oh,
out.
okay, I didn't hear
They
both.
did just now.
Okay, and they did. At this time, I will perform a safe start. Transmission's in neutral. Brakes are applied. No more than 2 inches of play in my clutch. I look around, there's no one around. I will start the vehicle. My ABS light came on and went off. Now I will, my low air pressure buzzer and indicator light will go off between 60 and 75. Okay, at this time I will do a tug test. I will tug against my trailer. So I will release the tractor. Okay, now I will tug against the tractor. I will release the trailer. Okay, now I'll release both brakes and I will perform a 5-mile-an-hour stab test. With my hands off the wheel, I will pull forward, apply the brakes. If the truck pulls to left or right, that would indicate a suspension or a brake problem. It did not pull left or right. My speedometer does work. That completes my pre-trip inspection.
Ain't much change.
34 minutes.
So it's pretty much just a beginning change.